everyone. Welcome to Pride Brunchathon on Utopia, and uh, we're gonna be playing kitchen cookout, kitchen contest. I have so many cooking words in my head, uh, but let's get into some fun stuff before we get into the game itself. That is that this Pride Brunchathon is presented by the wonderful RK Wild, and we're streaming on Utopia all of June. It's a month-long charity event that we're doing where we're raising funds for Black and Pink National. And so, what is Pride Brunchathon? We're going to be playing TRPGs that are made by BIMPOC designers and performed by QTPOC players and facilitators every weekend during June. The charity is going to be for Black and Pink National, which we're doing via Tiltify. You can see our current goal is 1,000, and we are currently at, we're almost at 550. We're 549.69. Nice.
Nice.
And so let me tell you a little bit more about the wonderful charity. Black and Pink National is a prison abolitionist organization that is supporting LGBTQIA2S plus people and people living with HIV and AIDS in the prison system. Their goal is liberation. They're anti racist, feminist, queer liberationists, and anti capitalist. Basically, prisons are a punishment that's meant to oppress and divide the marginalized and prevent unity and working together. While Black and Pink does look for a better world, they acknowledge that the positives of the world that we live in. That is celebrating our love for each other, our resiliency, and our power to keep moving forward in this very harmful system. They raise voices of formerly incarcerated people as those who have been hurt by the violence of the prison industrial complex. And they are the ones who understand how to break that system down. Overall, it's just an amazing organization with QTPOC at its forefront, and they are fighting for those who are oppressed. And our current goal is 1,000. It is for the entire month. We are hoping we hit that goal, but also if we do, we're gonna bump it up. But let's hit that goal. We're over the halfway point now. And whatever you can donate, that would be wonderful. No amount is too small or too big. And if you can't donate, please just spread the word. Let folks know through social media. That would be wonderful. And with that, let's quickly go around our table of wonderful aspiring chefs and judges in this game. But really, who are you in the real world, and where can we find you? Let's start with Mitzi.
Oh, okay. So hey everybody, my name is Mitzi. My pronouns are they, she, or she, they. I am what am I? I am a Filipino trans non-binary variety streamer on Twitch, and you can find me on Twitter and Twitch as Pukipeku. I stream video games. Currently, I'm on an Apex Legend rut, and I also play solo tabletop role playing games on my other segment called Solo Saturdays. And we also have a podcast on my stream called Sinigang, and it is a show where a guest and I watch a Filipino film together during a watch party, and then we talk about it on stream. And yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. Akemi.
Hi, I'm Akemi. Pronouns she, they. Um, I'm a mobile game designer by day. I moonlight as a TTRPG game designer on my off hours. I occasionally play in streams. I'm Hikari on Utopia's Donuts and Duels, so that's cool. Uh, yeah, I do things. And like penguins.
Wonderful. And Danny.
Hi, my name is Danny. You can find me at my name's Danny on basically everything, mainly Twitter, with all my nonsense. Let's see, what do I do? I am a Black woman of color. I live in the Austin. I'm like giving a really random overview of my life. I do podcasting. I am a voice actress for Good Point podcasts. We have a few shows that are out and currently underway for a third in our third year, so that's pretty awesome. But you can find us at goodpointpodcast.com and see all the different shows and different auditions we have available. Other than that, I am a local advocate for animals and work a lot with children, and that's what I do.
Yay! I'm just so excited to play with all y'all wonderful beans because oh my god, first time I get to. Anyways, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I am Mariam. You can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. You can see me lurking around here, either doing backhand things on Utopia, or running GMing Kahania, which is a bi-weekly Sunday show where we tell uh, BIMPOC stories, but they're also set in Surzamin, which is a South Asian fantasy setting. I write for TRPGs, and I also am working on a podcast called The Musafirs. Season 2 will be out at some point, hopefully this year. It will happen. It'll happen. Um, okay, so with that out of the way, we are going to start playing this wonderful game called Kitchen Contest, written by Hans Jun. You can find it on itch.io. If someone in the mods could put the link in the chat, that would be wonderful. Uh, it is a game of 3 to 4 players where you go around the table and tell a story with your friends of a uh, possibly cutthroat, but mostly really awesome cooking contest game. And in this game, we all play chefs seeking to win the contest, and also a judge that comments on everyone else's dishes. So at the start of the game, we set our goals, which we've already done ahead of time just to um, get into the game. And these goal dice essentially represent the target number that we as players will try to hit during each course, and I'll get into how that works in a moment. Um, we then roll our stakes, which is our dice pool that we will use during game. Let me see if that is. Yeah. So we this game uses 66, and essentially we use pairs of dice that we will eventually take out of the pool as the game progresses. And no, stakes do not roll very well, but we are talking about the risk reward stakes here when talking about stuff. But yes, bring those puns, and after we do our gold dice and our stake dice, which we've done ahead of time and we will get into as we begin the game, we then create our chef personas and our judge personas. So, first off, we'll go around the table and we will go around describing our chef. So, think about how they cook and what their preferred techniques are, and we will go around describing sort of the opening sequence. You know that when you're watching a cooking show, there's this whole like little package about the chef. So we'll go around describing an opening sequence for our chef that tells the audience something about them, like what do they look like, what are they shown cooking, what is your chef's signature technique, what do they hope to accomplish, what's their normal day like, and how have they trained for this competition. Questions like that. Who would like to go first? Go
Oh,
ahead, Danny.
sweet. I'm just doing my chef right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. You guys can't see this. There we go. My
Oh
hand
my god.
is I'm magic. Guten Tag. My name is Gretchen Mueller. Very bubbly redhead who studied under her mother's tutelage. Her mom worked for a personal chef of the wealthy in Hamburg. So she grew up with very, simple means, very, meat and potatoes type of gal. But really wants to be able to prove that even though she isn't classically trained, she is still a worthy competitor.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And we go next to who would like to go next? Looks
Guess I'll
like,
go.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Uh, Yusimaki, she's about 5'3", and like the opening shot of her is her and her family's mochi, like not really restaurant but shop. You know, helping out making little dango and doing all of that. And then cut to her Maki being like, "Well, you know, I grew up in my parents' Japanese dessert shop. I loved it there, but being that I'm the third daughter, I don't have to take over, which is great. So they've kind of given me permission to go off and go learn other techniques, cook other things instead of just Japanese desserts. I mean, I love them. They're so wonderful. And but it's so great to be able to do things outside of that wheelhouse. Uh, I'm really, really excited, and I've been prepping every day for the show since I got accepted. I've been making eggs a different way every single day and seeing I can do that right. Because, all the cooking shows always have a lot of things about eggs. And if I figure if I can do that right, I'll have a good chance.
Wonderful. And then we pan over to Mitzi. You ready?
Oh yeah, I have notes. Okay. So my character is Aziz Banwa. Their pronouns are they, them. And they usually have a red bandana to keep their hair out of their face, have big glasses, and there are some burn scars on their hand from practicing with the cooking. And they are a child, or yeah, a kid of a well-known Filipino restaurant chain. And they feel this pressure of being an accomplished chef of their own right. So they usually go to places, or like to local supermarket or local market, and just survey the area for possible recipe ingredients. Um, so their signature technique is like knife skills, and they sometimes, just for flair, juggle the knives dangerously. And yeah, and their daily routine is they wake up at ungodly hours because of their cats, and watch food shows while eating meals. And yeah, and their their problem as a chef, however, is they don't really measure the seasonings, so it's usually a hit or miss. But the challenge that they're going to try in this competition is actually measuring the seasonings. So they're going to see where that will take them.
Wonderful. And then you cut to sort of this really quick montage of a very, like a street stall that's near this kind of tree, and there's all these vegetables strewn around. And you notice that all the food is different variations and types of fried eggplant. And then it cuts to this young, maybe 21, 22 uh, um, person, and they're in this kind of like pose of like trying to look like street smart and everything. Is like, hi, I'm Brinjal. And then it cuts to sort of frying various eggplants, and then Brinjal, so I, I grew up around my mother. She's a vegetable seller, but for some reason, eggplants never sold. People don't like eggplants. I don't know why. They're delicious. Cut to more shots of making um, eggplant and frying it, and says, but then we thought, what's the best way to use these? Fry them, of course, and then sort of serve making a dish and serving it. And it's like, yeah, so I grew up on the streets, and I've learned how to make this versatile vegetable into so many things, and I just hope I can bring my flavor, my bold tastes, and my love for this humble vegetable to kitchen contest. This is going to be so great. And that's the end of the package. And I realized I should have started with the host, but it's okay. We're going to correct that now. And then you cut to this the host, who is in absolutely impeccable suit with the bow tie and everything's like, "Hi, I'm Stilton Brown, and you're watching Kitchen Contest." And the whole graphics for everything starts, and we see all four of us chefs in the kitchen, in what is called kitchen arena, and there's like a whole suite of um, basically having your competition. Sorry, your there's like fryers and a wonderful gas range and a whole pantry of ingredients. And says, now that we've met the contestants, let's meet the wonderful judges who will be judging this competition. And it cuts to let's start with Akemi. Who's your judge?
Hi, I'm Kaito. You probably have seen me in as a former member of the pop group. Uh, so I happen to like food, and I really like to show that I like food. It's delicious, and have a wonderful day.
And then it pans to uh, I think it will go to Danny. Who's your judge?
My name is Sybil Holbrook. I am someone who enjoys a good cook, enjoys a tidy kitchen, and prefers the more classically trained French. But, you know, with novices, we're going to see if we can test their limits and see what we have today. Quite intrigued. Quite intrigued.
And then we pan to Mitzi.
So, hi everybody. My name is Kainan. I have a YouTube account. I'm known for my mukbang content, and I am just a fan of eating a lot of food. What I do want out of this competition is. Oh yeah, I just want food that is accessible for everybody, and I want enough quantity for sharing because I think that's really important. So, yeah, if your food is not accessible for the people, I am so sorry.
And
Nice
then
to
it
meet
cut
everybody.
and it cuts to the last judge, who's sitting there saying, "Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. Food should be accessible, and it should be uh, full of flavor. It shouldn't be bland, because otherwise I could just do it myself." And uh, yeah, and hi, I'm Aubergine. I am a food critic, and I've written a book about the best cheap eats that you can find all over the globe. Yeah, so I'm looking for ing- ingenious ways of prepping humble ingredients, and yeah, yeah, this is going to be exciting. We'll see what our young chefs, or old, whatever, I don't discriminate, we'll see what they have. And it goes back to it goes back to the impeccable bow tie of Stilton. And it's like, yes, now that we have introduced everyone here, we will begin our wonderful competition with our first course. And then now, as a facilitator, I'm going to be wearing many not hats. Let's just say glasses and bow ties, minus the actual bow tie. In game, we are now starting the game proper. Uh, the way this game will go is we have essentially three courses, which was for game mechanics rounds. Within each round, we all the chefs will take two turns. Like we'll all take a turn, then another turn. And during your turn, you can do three actions. You can either transform something, you can either sabotage another player, or you can savor in your cooking. Now, mechanically, what that means is that when you transform something, you are taking one die from your dice pool and you're going to re-roll it, hoping you can get close to the goal. So the goal for our first course is 10. So you have to use 2 out of your 6 dice that you've already pre-rolled to be able to get the number 10. um,
Okay.
which is why transform is a very important step for this. You can also sabotage if you think, well, if I can't get the goal, I'm going to make sure someone else gets further away from it. You can sabotage. Not everyone can be a winner here, so you try to make things harder for one of your opponents. Uh, a little kind of like embellishment of this thing is if you do decide to sabotage, we're going to throw in a sabotage similar to a show that is a little cutthroat in the kitchen, and tell us what that sabotage is and how you have lo- um, launched it on your poor opponent, and then the opponent will describe how that affects them. Uh, Mechanically, that means you choose a die from an opponent's pool and you ask them to re-roll it, and then use that to role play how that pans out. And then savor is the sometimes you have everything under control and you want to cook without any pressure, and you don't mechanically you don't change any dice and you're just chugging along. That is always an option. After we have meanwhile, as we are taking these turns, we also can make reaction shots where we're just describing what's happening. As you're cooking, you just was like, oh yeah, so I'm gonna do this and that, or like, ooh, I see this player's doing this thing. It's really interesting, but also really confusing. Or, just those are just ideas of what that is. Once we've all taken our turns, we will do the end of course, which is essentially pick the 2 die from your pool that you're going to use for your target. And if it matches it, then you are probably the closest and the chef that is doing the best out of the particular round. And then we get into the judging round, where we all take turns sampling each other's dishes and describing the dish. And we will get more into the details of that as we get to our first judging round. Any questions?
If we transform, do we still want to give kind of like an like a in character
Oh,
situation
yeah.
on that? Okay.
Yeah. Whenever, like, I'm explaining the mechanics so that we and the audience understand what is going on. However, we don't just roll dice. We describe what we're doing as we roll it. So 100% flourish, embellish what is happening. Any other questions? All right, let us begin then. So Stilton has is in front of this big dome and like sort of like a covered display and says, "All right, chefs, for your first round, we are going to create an appetizer. However, you must make sure to make this ingredient the star, or shall I say the cream of your masterpiece." And as the dome rises and the curtains unfold, you see this wonderful display of various pots and and pitchers and a fountain full of cream that's just lazily bubbling away and says, yes, your ingredient is cream. You can use fresh cream, you can use whipped cream, you can use creme fraiche, cream cheese, whatever it is, but make sure that this is the star of your dish. And you have 20 minutes a la cuisine, and the game begins. Uh,
Uh,
all right, so now we have begun our first course. And who would like to take the first turn?
I can go.
All right, go ahead.
So Gretchen is thinking, processing. You can kind of see her looking at the different options. The fountain is just interesting in itself, but the cream free, she knows a few different things she can do with that. So she goes over, grabs a few items, and then starts hurrying towards her station, throwing down the cheese, making her way to the back of the pantry, grabbing potatoes, grabbing fresh celery, grabbing some carrots, throws back one because that one doesn't look good enough, grabs a different carrot, heads back to our station. You can already see she has beading sweat. She's nervous. She's going to get this done in 20 minutes somehow. I'm going to transform one of
Mm-hmm.
my roles. Do I get to pick which one I want to re?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get
And
rid
then you have to keep the
of.
new roll.
Okay, I will drop this one because I can't go lower than that.
Yep.
Um, and shika, roll the dice. She's chopping. Oh, cool, it's a one. Cool, cool. She nicked herself while she's cutting. Medic,
Oh,
ich habe eine Ouchie.
and Stilton's like, oh, it looks like we've already the blood's already in the water, as it seems like our chef Gretchen has injured herself. And you see the medics are rushing and are um, and let's pan to another chef in the meanwhile. Who would like to take their turn next?
I can go.
Yeah, Mitzi.
Okay, so this is the first time that Ozzy is in a competition for cooking, and they are under pressure, and they just stare for like a minute, like just uh-oh, and then they run to the pantry looking for the ingredients and hoping that it's available. They found those like very very tiny like shrimp, and then they're like, okay, this could work, this could work, this could work. And then they run back and forth from the pantry, and then counted every single ingredient, and of course went to the pantry and grabbed all of the possible seasonings that they can. And
Okay.
then they start like they grab a knife, kind of like twirl it, and then starts cutting all of the spices. And then I think I'm going to transform because
Hmm.
I have a one here, so I'm going to roll. That is a six.
All right. Does that bring you closer to the goal?
Nope.
We are trying to hit among two dice. We're trying to hit the goal of 10.
Yeah, nope.
Okay. So, it's a little bit of a setback. What do you think is happening?
um so again, they forgot their goal of measuring the seasonings, and they grabbed a handful of salt instead of just a pinch, and then just drops it in. And the moment it dropped in, they were like, oh no, oh no, 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 no. And so they're trying to like look for well, they run and grab more cream, thinking in their panic that it'll help balance the saltiness. But who knows, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't,
Maybe it
hopefully.
will. And you see Stilton going, "Oh, it looks like we see some panic on Ozzy's face. It seems like they might have dropped a little too much seasoning. However, it seems like there's a rough start, but perhaps Maki can turn. Maki's doing well." And we cut to Maki. What is Maki doing?
Maki, she, she's been, took a moment, thought about it, went, okay, this is not an egg. Okay, I think I know how to make it's not an egg, it's not a dessert, but I think I can do this. So goes to the pantry, goes through, looks at the different creams, finds the one that smells the best, because cream, even though it may be from the same source or everything, there's some minor differences, and those little differences can account for a lot of different things in taste and texture, and how the dish will come out. So it takes that, gets some ground pepper, or peppercorns, some sea salt, pistachios, finds a little basil, uh, tomatoes, and then goes off, starts cutting up vegetables and whisking up the cream into a whipped cream, a savory whipped cream. I guess I will also transform.
Yeah. Which die are you choosing to turn?
I'm gonna try
Transform.
to turn that one into something other than a one.
All right.
It is now five.
Is that closer to your goal?
I believe so.
All right. It looks like it's look. So the way we kind of if your transformation or whatever you're doing gets you closer to your goal, it is a generally positive result versus if it puts you further from your goal. Either direction, it is more of a negative or a mixed result or a setback. So, what do you think you're doing that kind of gets you closer to a masterfully done dish?
Since Maki figured out, okay, I know what I'm making. I'm making it a uh, savory whipped cream parfait with basil and tomatoes and pistachio nuts on top. I know what I'm doing. I'm in the zone. I can get this, and just gets things cut up quickly. Is not freaking out and running around the kitchen because she is really nervous because this is the first time she's doing this. But I think I got this. I think I got this. I seem to be in a good place. Everyone else is having some issues. I think I can make this happen.
Okay, wonderful. And with that, it pans to Brinjal, who has started picking up, surprise, surprise, a couple of eggplants. But they're sort of they're the small round ones versus sort of the big Italian ones, and is starting to cut them into what looks to be thin slices, possibly for frying, and has taken some cream cheese out of the chosen possibilities that were there and is whipping it and flavoring it with some spices. Looks like keeping it fairly simple, is going to try to also transform one of the threes into a five, which is kind of a little further than expected for the goal. But it looks like the seasoning doesn't. The seasoning, it's a little under seasoned, but they really need to focus on getting those chips fried. It looks like they're making chips. They've got the fryer going. It looks like they're making a batter, and it's kind of a mixed bag. And the camera now pans back to who would like to go and take their second turn now.
Bingo.
All right, and we go back to Gretchen. Uh,
Gretchen's now bandaged up. She's doing okay.
yes.
She's wiping sweat from her brow. She has some potatoes that, while everyone was taking their turns, have been diced. They're now nice and bubbling in a pot. We get a zoom in of that, nice and yummy potatoes. We see her stirring her stock that she's making, fresh vegetable stock. As the camera comes over, she looks up, gives a smile. So this is my Muti's recipe. I wanted to make sure my first appetizer was really simple, something that is home cooking. Everyone has just comfort in a bowl. So I am going to be making a potato soup with some, if I have time, because I have the dough proofing right now. We'll see how that turns out. Some pretzel crostinis. So, just something that everyone can enjoy, pretty easy across all the palettes. I'm going to, I'm allowed to do another transformation.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
you can do any of the three.
Okay, let's try that one again and see if this
All
time
right.
we don't hurt ourselves.
Yes.
Let's roll the dice. Cool. It's a 2. So technically better,
It
not
is
as
better.
great as we thought. She realizes that her water is now boiling over on the potatoes and rushes over to get that, kind of shoving the camera out of her face.
Yeah, and you see that there's someone on scene who's like the on the floor, on the kitchen floor reporter, being like, oh, it looks like it's boiling over, let's hope those potatoes are not overdone. Anyways, we'll let you be, and we'll now head over to uh uh let's see, Ozzy, what are you up to, what are you doing?
So Ozzy is frantically trying to fix the salt situation, and they added a lot of cream, and then they remembered that one of the judges said that, oh, quantity, right, I can make a lot. So they proceeded to like just make a lot of the thing. So they noticed the camera and, oh, I'm just making some comfort food that I learned from one of our cooks. It's called an ukoy, so it's a shrimp covered in batter, and I'm also trying to make some form of mayonnaise ketchup concoction with a bit of cream. And yeah, and then they go back to their work, and then they're just like, they're going to take a bite of one of like small bits that has been cooking, and then they take a bite, and I will savor the the thingy. And yeah, uh
All right.
think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're just holding steady, and the camera now pans to Maki. Maki, how you doing?
Um, Maki's gotten the savory whipped cream made and is starting to layer it very nicely within tiny parfait glasses, uh, getting it ready for plating. And so I think she's going to savor and then just keep working, making sure everything just looks really nice. So you have the varying colors and levels of food within the little glasses. And okay, I think I got this. I think I got this.
Yeah, and you see now that the dime is 5 minutes left. It now cuts to Brinjal, who has been frying all these slices, and it looks like they're actually half slices, and it's being rolled up into sort of this fried rows of eggplant slices, and you start to see the cream that is the cream cheese that is being whipped up into some sort of a sauce that is going to be drizzled all over it, and Brinjal is going to also transform a dice, take a 3, and it becomes a 4, which is exactly what Brinjal was slash me was looking for, and it looks exactly like Brinjal would have wanted, and we're now getting close to the last 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8. What's happening as what are the last flourishes you all do as the timing is happening?
Gretchen's
I
what? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Gretchen's wiping down her bowls. She's ladling her, she knows this isn't her best attempt. She knows this isn't great, but she's going to get something to serve to the judges. She will have something for them to eat. She's getting her little slightly undercooked pretzel bites in there on the side. It's looking decent, TGI Fridays kind of level.
Wonderful. And
Ozzy
yeah.
is going to do their plating. So like it's like the uko is kind of like a patty looking. So they're going to pile it up, and then they're going to be cutting, like it's almost like a pyramid situation. So that's how they cut it up, and then they put like a tiny umbrella on top, and then the mayo chop is on the side, and then they're like, okay, I think this is good, I think this is good, yeah, okay, okay, okay. And then they're just like, whoo, okay. And then they look to the other contestants, and they're like, oh no, theirs looks so much better, did I make the right decision? And then
And yeah, what is
then
Maki
that's it.
doing in the last few seconds as the countdown is happening?
Sprinkling that final little bit of like pistachio on top of each of the little parfait cups, and then laying the tiny little spoons to go with the cups so they look at the precise right angle instead of just haphazardly putting the spoon there. Just like, no, putting it right where I want it, and step back. These look good. These look good.
Yeah, and now it goes to 3, 2, 1. Hands off, judges. Sorry, chefs. Round 1 is done. And with that, we get into the end of course, where we look at our dice pool that we have and choose two die to get it closest to 10. It can either go above or below, doesn't really matter. The point is to be the closest to 10.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Will future, well, just so like strategic wise, will future roles, do we know if there'll be, sorry, our future stakes for each of the goals that we're doing for for like the next round? Do we know if there'll be less than 10? Like, will there be
The goals, yeah, the goals were already set. So if you look closer, yeah. So the first goal was 10. The next goal we'll see when we start the next round, but it's there for the players to see. So which is why that strategy exists now, which dice to pick. So I, Brinjal, have already two dice that I'm picking, which is the 6 that I have and the 4 that I have to get it to 10 exactly. Who has dice that they're ready to pick?
I'll go
Uh,
next.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
so
Go ahead.
sorry.
No worries.
Um, so I'll do the 2 and the 3. Got a 5. It is what it is.
Okay. Uh, all right. So there's a 5-point difference. Who would like to go next?
I'll go.
I can go next.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have a 5 and a 5, so I will use those.
All right, so you are also, and in fact, you are closer than me because you have exactly what the die face is. So you, who, and then Mitzi, what are your two dice that you are picking?
I will take the 6 and the 4.
Okay. All right, so you have 0 point difference. All right. With that, we now go to the judging round. So in the judging round, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take turns as a chef to present a dish, and the other players will judge it. Now, the way we judge it, role playing wise, is we pick tags. You get an extra tag per point difference there is from the total and the goal, from the players total and the goal. So for example, and the tags are essentially ways to describe it and tend to be more, I guess, sort of like it was nice but it was a little gummy, like sort of so for example with Gretchen's dish, there's 5 points, so we pick 5 tags. However, these are tags that we need to make sure fit the dish as well as Danny is okay with. So with that, why don't we just start with actually, since those you have the one with a difference, let's start with Gretchen's dish. So Gretchen, uh, the host Stilton says, "All right, Gretchen," and it pans into the shot. Gretchen, please describe your dish to the judges.
Sure. So my dish is just supposed to be this comfort food, potato soup, very traditional in Germany. Uh, Kartoffelsuppe. Um, I use the cream fraiche to really thicken and give it that creaminess. It's really just kind of home cooking. You have some chives in there, potatoes, nice size. My pretzel bites, my crostinis, were a little underproofed. So they came out a little fluffier than a crostini probably should. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Is that right?
You go ahead. It seemed like you were gonna say something, Mitzi.
Oh no, I am thinking.
Okay. Hmm. Yes, it's very interesting. The pretzel uh, gives a nice crunch. But I feel that hmm, perhaps it was a little inconsistent in the plating. Uh, it's but overall, I think it is that the tanginess of the creme fraiche uh really brings it all together. And while I think that this I think this dish is a good first effort, and sort of looks over to the other judges.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
So Kainan takes a bite out of every piece, and they're like, I've never had this before, but it's really good. I think, yeah, what are these called? They point to the what was it called? The Christinis.
Crostinis, pretzel crostinis.
Yeah, I think there's something a bit off. It's not that bad, but I think it's how do you say this? There's a sharpness to it, but it's not bad. I really like it. And a job well done. And then they just keep eating, and then kind of almost forgot there's another judge who's gonna eat the the dish, and then offers it to the next one.
Oh, that'd be me.
Yes, Kaito.
Kaito very delicately spoons up some of the soup, tries the pretzel. Very delicious. Very delicious. Um, I feel like the consistency is a little. I don't know. Maybe gummy. I'm not sure how potatoes are supposed to work. Maybe it's a different type of potato. But it was really, really delicious. I mean, most so in Japan I've had soup, potato soup, but it usually comes in can, and like this compared to the stuff in a can, there's no contest whatsoever. This is so much better. Because we're not known for potato soup in Japan, so I'm very excited to have tried this dish.
You.
And Stilton says, "Thank you so much, Gretchen. And now for the next chef," and looks to Maki. And Maki, please present your dish to the judges, please. And it cuts to the shot, and please describe it.
Okay, um, well, so I took the concept of a parfait, which is a layered, typically dessert, and took the idea of and oftentimes both parfaits and whipped cream are associated with desserts and sweet things. But I really loved the like layered concept of putting different flavors on different levels, and you also get this very pretty layering within a parfait. So I made a savory version with, uh, let's see, a a savory basil whipped cream layered with tomatoes and topped with a bit of pistachio. I hope you enjoy.
Ozzy goes forward and says, "Oh, this looks very interesting," and then like does this like puts their face on the level of the thing, just marveling at the layers, and then they're like, "I almost don't want to eat it because it looks so good, but I'm gonna anyway," and then takes a fork. Or do you eat a parfait with a fork?
There were tiny
Or is it a
spoons.
spoon?
Spoons,
There
Okay,
were tiny
thank
spoons
you.
attached.
long spoons.
Okay, thank you.
Also, all the
um,
judges get one, so you don't worry.
okay. Uh, takes a long spoon and then digs in, and then they, for a moment, they close their eyes and remember the universe is around them and how small they are. She is in the world, and then she's like, "This is amazing. I I will stop eating because I know there are other judges who wants to eat it, but this is so amazing. It's just it it is so smooth and melts in your mouth. I love it so much. Great job. I really commend you for doing this. Then she goes back almost reluctantly. So
Uh,
yeah.
Sybil is slowly looking around at the different the layers, the consistency, turns it a few times before she even dips her spoon in to take to take a small bite, samples it, really lets it sit on her palate before she looks at Maki, gives her a long look, and then a solid nod. Maki, this is fantastic. You transformed your element into something that is creative, unique. This is something that I would serve in one of my Michelin uh, restaurants, and that's saying something. You would never have known that you're classically trained. This is fantastic. There's a richness to each layer, the concise, which you can lose when you're doing a whipped cream or whipped fresh. That's very easy to see in more amateur people. The actual layers sink in and get muddled, but you have concise layers here, and each are just refreshing. The pistachio melds well with the sea salt and peppercorn. The basil is just a bite of green, a bite of freshness, that really just softens out that tartness of the tomatoes. Um, Overall, well done. Brava.
And you see Brinjal just like almost just takes that spoon and just goes straight in and takes a big honkin' like from the spoon heaped spoon, just puts the whole thing in their mouth, and they go, "Oh my god, this." I mean, I was a little suspicious or like sort of off a savory parfait because we are so used to, you know, the yogurt and granola and everything, but this is a party in my mouth. I We should have, if savory parfaits are like this, we should have more of these. Brava.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna keep this glass, and just continues finishing. There's one for each of the judges, but it's just like actually finishing the whole dish versus having a bite or two and putting it down. And then still says, "Thank you, Maki. That seemed to go over well." And our next chef, Ozzy, please step forward.
Ozzy almost trips on their feet, but like
Oh,
recovers.
hold on. Like, yeah, like, are you okay? Will you be able to bring the dish?
Um, they're they're like, oh yeah, yeah. Just yes, and then goes forward and then presents the dish. So it's like uh they kind of like slouches a little, nervous, but they speak in like almost a squeaky voice, and they say, so so this dish is a a a childhood favorite of mine. It's called an ukoy. So it's tiny shrimps in a batter. In the batter, I added a bit of cream to make it a little more interesting, and it has a side dish of mayo and ketchup and a little bit of cream just to give it a little smoothness. So I hope y'all enjoy. And yeah.
Yeah. And who would like to go first among the judges?
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Sybil pulls the plate to her, looking around, flips it over to make sure there's consistency in sizing, in coloration, cuts apart a piece, takes a bite first of just the okoi, before testing it with the mayo ketchup situation going on there. Lets it sit on her palate for a minute, nods, looks at it. All right. So, Aussie, I think this is a triumph. Um, there is that beautiful saltiness that you get that just comes through really well. Um, the cream that you used for the this dipping sauce. I don't know what we'd call it, but this dipping sauce is just beautiful. Very street food, but elevated. The plating is very, despite that it's a street food, very beautiful, very well done, very crafted. Um, I really enjoy the shrimp and the batter combination. They're not overcooked. The fact that it's a patty makes the evenness of the cooking very well done. Overall, I think it's a good effort.
Thank you so much, Chef.
Brinjal will go next if that's okay. And Brinjal looks at it and says, "Yeah, it's very interesting. This is definitely very comfort food, and if someone told me that I would find shrimp and mayo chup uh, as an elevated dish, I'd be laughing at them. But to tell you the truth, it is delicious. It is the perfect blend of what was needed. Um, and oh yes, aubergine. Sorry, it is aubergine. Brinjal is. I remember. I got the glasses on, and it's totally Superman. Can't tell the difference. Um, uh, and yes, this is this definitely makes me feel like I'm outside on the streets, enjoying all the midnight market and all of those places. Thank you, Mitzi.
You.
This is like the best version of a like so shrimp and cream is not something I would expect to be a good combination, but this is such a wonderful, delicious combination of fried and crispy and shrimp, and you've got that creaminess. Like I feel like this is something I would have as a late night snack, but like the absolute best version of it. And Kaito just takes another giant bite. Yeah, these are great.
You can see Ozzy start like tearing up because it's like the external validation they needed, and they're just like, "Thank you so much," and then
Thank you,
slowly backs away
thank you, chef.
from.
And now for our final judging. Please, Brinjal, chef, bring your dish. And tell us your dish. And it goes to a close up, and it looks like it's a small bowl that is quite circular. And in the middle, there's all these very delicately arranged fried eggplant slices that look like they've been battered. And there is at the center of this eggplant rose is a big dollop of a cream cheese. Looks like it's spiced with chaat masala and Brinjal says, "What I have for you here is a blooming eggplant with a chat cream cheese sauce. Please enjoy."
Sybil pulls the plate towards her plate, her section, turns it around, admires the rosette that they've created with the eggplant chips, which is pretty hard to do when they're fried. And taste first the chip by itself before dipping it into the slightly spiced cheese and takes a bite, or the dip, sorry, and takes a bite, chews it, gives herself a moment to really think, gives Brinjal a nod. This is fantastic. What you've done with your eggplant, your presentation, just on its own merit, is beautiful. This is something that can be served out of a food vendor truck or can be charged $20 a pop for an appetizer at any five-star hotel and eatery. I love it. I love what you did with the elevation of the fried eggplant. It's crispy, which is hard to do with fried eggplant. A lot of people don't know to wick out the moisture first before they batter to make sure that you don't have that disconnect between the the actual vegetable and your batter. But you did a fantastic job. It's obviously clear that you love eggplants. You know how to work with them. Fantastic job. Delicious, crispy. That that succulent bite. And the seasoning. I was worried earlier when you were adding it. I thought pinch too much, but it's perfect. Wouldn't change a thing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and then goes forward to get their plate, and they kind of like puts the plate a bit closer to their face, and then just sniffs it cautiously, and then they take a piece of the eggplant and admires the bloom, and then dips it in the creme fraiche with the chaat masala, and then they take a huge bite because that's the only thing they know how to do with eating, and then they're like, "Wow, this this is really good. I was a bit cautious about it being eggplant, but you might actually change my mind about eggplants. It's not my favorite, but this is becoming a favorite vegetable for me because of what you made. Really good. Really good. It's very consistent, but also different flavors are in my mouth. You did really, really well. Thank you for this meal."
Thank you so much. That is great praise coming from you. I'm a huge fan.
Oh,
And it is your turn, Kaito.
Kaito looks at it, picks up some of the eggplant. It's very delicately breaded. It's very different from a tempura, but it looks delicious. Dips it into the chopped creme fraiche. Takes a bite. Almost burns the top of his mouth because he's just trying to fit too much of it in his mouth at once because it's so delicious. But he's like, nope, no, okay, I'm good. The creaminess of the inside of the eggplant matched with the like light, delicate crispiness on the outside, and all the flavors you get from the creme fraiche. It's so good. Just this is really truly amazing. Thank you for this.
And yeah, and Stilton comes and says, "Yes, and with that, our first round is done, and we'll be right back after this commercial break." And IRL, that means we're gonna take a quick break of our own so that we can stretch our legs, hydrate, use the facilities, all of that stuff. Right now, our goal, our charity goal, we are at 574.69. Nice, of 1,000. We are currently running raising funds for Black and Pink National. If you want to donate, check out the link in chat. You can either use charity or Brunchathon to get that link. And we'll be back in 5. Hello, welcome back to Pride Brunchathon. This is an event that has been created, presented by RK Wild and Utopia, and we are raising money for Black and Pink via Tiltify, a link that you can see in chat if you type in the word charity or Brunchathon. Either way, you can see our link. We are currently at a little over half our goal. Our goal is 1,000. We're at 574.69. Nice. And we are raising money for Black and Pink National. It is a prison abolitionist organization supporting LGBTQIA2S plus people and people living with HIV and AIDS in the prison system. Their goal is liberation. They're anti-racist, feminist, queer liberationists and anti-capitalists, and with their actions, they seek to break down the prison industrial complex that divides and separates families and those who are oppressed by systemic issues within our society. And no amount is too small or too big. If you can, please donate. If not, please you can help out by spreading the word and letting folks know about what we're doing and this incredible cause. And with that, we're gonna go back into our game, which is Kitchen Contests by Hans Chun. Uh, and during the stream, possibly towards the end, we are giving away 3 copies of this game. So if you stick around and chat, there will be a raffle. And yeah, we just finished our first round where it was a strong start from most of us. There's a bit of a clear sort of front runner, just a little bit, with Maki's incredible dish. But now we are now getting into our second course, and the camera goes back to Stilton and says, "Hello and welcome back to Kitchen Contest." After the exciting start with our cream-based appetizers, uh, chefs, are you ready to see what our secret ingredient is for our next course? And there's like a hush, and then there's a new dome and curtains sort of surrounding the ingredient. All right, chefs, you have 40 minutes to make an entree. However, this entree must feature this ingredient. Uh, you know, it mushroom, and then suddenly the curtains you mushroom to add this ingredient. um, and the curtains pull back, and you see like almost like flowers in a vase and many glass tall containers. You see big bunches of enoki mushrooms, and says, "Please make use of enoki mushrooms. These wonderful mushrooms are succulent. They are uh, tasty, and they're also known as lily mushrooms. And it is generally used in cuisines, in Asian cuisines, where they put them in soups, they put them in stir fries. But whatever dishes you make, this must be the star. And get ready, SETI, cook!" And off everybody goes. And we now start our turns. And uh, we will go pan to Gretchen. Gretchen, what are you doing?
Gretchen takes off towards the dais that has all the beautiful mushroom vases on it and grabs one of the vases. She tastes it because she's never heard of this mushroom in her effing life before. Being from Germany, they don't really use this kind of mushroom very often or at all. It has a sweetness to it that she like nods along to. She's getting a flavor palette and kind of thinking of the different recipes she can do with this. One of her favorite recipes is schnitzel. She knows she can make that in 40 minutes, like to perfection, and she doesn't want to take a risk after her last failing. She runs to go grab, put down the mushrooms, go to the back, start grabbing out some cuts of veal, breading, some Parmesan, pepper, some fresh garlic and onions, And then, of course, she's going to make some spätzle to go with it because you can't have that without spätzle. So she grabs also the stuff to make the dumplings. So flour. Um, this one just takes some eggs, a little bit of milk, I believe. She's waddling back. We're just savoring this moment. She just needs to focus, and if she can just keep her head in the game, she's got this. So she's starting to get everything prepared on her station and really lay everything out to nail this one.
Wonderful. And if I read that, you are just savoring the moment.
Savor in the moment.
All right, wonderful. The camera next goes to Maki. Maki, what are you doing?
Maki is very carefully going through, looking at all the different vases, and then picking one, going through the pantry, slowly, deliberately picking out some cuts of beef, very thinly sliced, some soy sauce, some sugar, some carrots, tofu, other vegetables. Uh, Make sure to get some rice, and oh right, some eggs, and then takes that all back to her workstation, where she will start cutting up things and is going to transform.
All right. Which die are you transforming?
I'm going to take the 2, and I got a 4.
All right. Is that closer to your goal?
Uh, what's the goal number? Yes.
Yes, the goal number for this cuisine is a 7. We are trying to hit a 7. Yeah, so please, how do you transform it to get it closer to what you imagine this dish to be?
So, the main dish that Maki knows with enoki nut mushrooms is one of her absolute favorite things of sukiyaki, and she's just like, all right, I'm just gonna go with the recipe my mom always used to make, like my favorite thing to come home to after school. All right, and cut up all the vegetables so they're all nice and pretty. Start the stock boiling or start cooking because you don't want to boil it, otherwise it'll change the flavor. And just okay, I think I if I can remember exactly how my mom used to make it, I think I'm good.
Wonderful. The camera slowly pans away to Ozzy. Ozzy, what are you up to?
Ozzy right now is like, wait, wait. And then they're like, okay, what does an enoki mushroom do? And then they're like, wait, party, yes, toge. And then so they're remembering bean sprouts, and they think, oh, bean sprouts. I think enoki mushrooms are like bean sprouts. Yeah, I can work with that. So they take the enoki mushrooms and then go to the fridge of the pantry and looks for some ground beef, and then they take they you can see them deliberating whether or not to take cloves of garlic or just garlic powder, and couldn't decide, so they take both, and also some onion, some egg, and then takes interestingly takes the container of coconut vinegar. Thankful once again that it's available in the pantry, and then just lugs everything together. So uh, their idea is uh, something like a spring roll, but it's ground beef and enoki mushrooms inside, and then they're going to have like a dipping sauce, which is some spicy coconut vinegar. And they're like, okay, time for a birthday party, and then they they start
Love it.
preparing everything.
Yeah. So, are you savoring? Are you transforming? What are you doing?
Quick question: if
Hmm.
we use the two dice, we can't use them again, right?
No, they're out of your pool now. You only have 4 dice to work with now.
Hmm. I am going to transform one of the threes that I have.
Okay.
Uh, okay. Dice. Okay, it's a 2. Yeah, it brings me closer. Yeah.
All right. So what do you transform? How do you transform what you're currently doing to get you closer to your goal?
Um, I Ozzy thinks about it for a moment. There's something missing. There is something missing in this. They're like, how did how did my Lola make this? And then they're like, oh, and then they run back to the pantry and then they grab a single carrot and then goes back to their station and they start like they flip a knife again and then just starts mincing. It's almost like a paste at this point. And then they're like, yes, okay, happy birthday to me, and then they just start singing that while they're cutting up everything.
And Stone says, "Well, while there's a birthday party happening at Ozzy Station, let's see what Brinjal is up to." And it cuts to Brinjal, sort of like talking to themselves and being like, "Okay, so the enoki mushrooms. And it kind of sniffs it and it's like, okay, maybe I need to maybe just quickly boil it or something, prep it. I'm not sure. But I was just thinking, what's the thing that people love eating on the streets any day and night, And I'm just thinking about how there's this kind of fusion food that we have on the streets, especially late at night, and it's this like Maggie noodle type of a thing where they just throw in everything and it's a hash and it's wonderful and it's savory. Oh, maybe. Oh, what if I take the noodles and I make them the what if I take the mushrooms and I make them the noodles in this dish? And sort of like a light bulb, and they start running around. And I think I'm going to transform my dice. So I'm going to take one of the threes and see if I can get it into a number that works for me. It is now a 5, which is not quite a little further away from what I want. And I think to uh, kind of get that, I think Brinjal sort of decides to cook them instead of blanching them and starts kind of like boiling water, throws them in like pasta. And they start to become a little floppy, just a little bit. And the camera starts panning back to Gretchen. Gretchen, how you doing?
Gretchen is focused as the camera comes up. She's getting her last cuts of veal that she's made into very thin that she's pounded out with a mallet slices and getting them into the fryer or into the hot grease that she has boiling right now. Flips it, looks to the camera, gives a smile. Right now, what I'm doing is just trying to get my schnitzel ready. That's going to go into the oven as soon as it's done, so that way it maintains its crispiness. We have schnitzel right now boiling, so that's going to be like this perfect dough. This time I will get my dough right since it doesn't have to proof. That makes it so much easier. They're basically kind of like little noodle yum yums. So das ist prima. I think it's going well. So how I'm transforming the mushrooms, I've never worked with these before, but we always make a mushroom sauce to go over top of this. So I'm gonna just combine some of the herbs I've gotten, some of the cloves of garlic. You can never go wrong with that. Threw a little butter in there. That's sizzling away. We got the garlic aerating, whatever that's called, aromaing up in the yum yums. And we're gonna throw in the mushrooms at the very last. They're already kind of a soft texture, so I don't want to lose too much of their flavor. I just want to make like a nice brown sauce. We're going to throw in a little bit of beef stock, throw in a little bit of thickener, some cornstarch, get it stirred up in there, and hopefully we'll have it all done in time. I think we're good.
Wonderful. So you're still savoring it, correct?
Yep.
Okay. The camera again pans back to Maki. Maki, what are you doing?
Maki has been cutting up the carrots so they're little like sakura shapes and like pretty little flowers instead of just round circles. Putting little like little X's into the shiitake mushrooms to make them look prettier as well, and just getting all the vegetables not just so that not just so that they're like cut up, but so that they're cut up very pretty. Because sukiyaki by itself isn't like the prettiest dish, but if you can make the vegetables and all the other pieces of it look really nice, it'll just improve everything else. So she's just taking the time, making little flowers out of carrots and making. She's gonna save her and just taking the time, uh, getting rice cooked so that it'll be perfectly fluffy but not too hard, not too wet, and just enjoying this, reminding of like this is something my mom used to make. It was my favorite. I'm so happy that I can make this for others, and hopefully it's as good as hers.
Oh.
Oh, so sweet. And the camera now pans to Ozzy. Ozzy, what are you doing?
Ozzy has gone from a festive mood, sorry, a birthday mood, into a fiesta mood. So they're just remembering, while they're doing their thing, and then just making the meaty lumpia. They are starting, instead of a happy birthday, they remember the fiestas back at home, the religious kind of fiesta, and they're just singing at this point like "Viva Señor San Miguel!" Woo! "Viva Señor San Miguel!" And then they're just doing all of that, and then they're like,
And you're savoring it?
"Yeah, I'm savoring it."
Okay. And Sun says, and there's a party still happening at Ozzy Station. Wonderful. Looks like they are going exactly how they want it. And let's see how Brinjal is doing after, the perhaps overcooking that enoki mushroom. And you see Brinjal is now sort of pulling out jackfruit and is kind of shredding it like chicken to add it in to the stir fry that is this instant noodle stir fry that is happening, and is sort of looking at the uh, enoki mushrooms and is going like, oh, okay, maybe I should I add some raw ones in? I don't know. And is going to transform a die, going to try to transform the other three that is there, and it's a 6 and it is not going at, well, actually could kind of work. um and thinks, okay, maybe I'll just throw a couple in, just in the last couple of minutes of cooking, and is now, as the time is getting close to like the last 5 or 10 minutes of the competition, is uh adding in spring onions, is adding in wedges of eggplant because that's the signature, just kind of quickly coating it in salt and flour and just deep frying them before throwing them in. And it seems like, despite the initial setbacks, is slowly getting their dish together. And as we head into this last sort of 10-9, what's the last flourish that we all do? We'll go in the order of Danny, Akemi, Mitzi, and myself.
So Gretchen is plating. She has square plates, a beautiful little nestle of just yummy, fluffy dumplings, the spätzle with the slices, the thin slices of the deep fried schnitzel is laid, and then you just have this beautiful drizzle of that mushroom, that otaki mushroom gravy over top. Clean edges, beautiful presentation. She's proud. Nice little garnish of green, a little bit of spring onion to give it some green to it since it's a very brown dish.
Yeah, and Maki, what are you doing as your final flourish?
Making sure each plate has the same amount of flower shaped carrots, and so putting a bowl in a dish, and so it's nicely laid out instead of just thrown in. Have a raw egg or putting the raw egg in small bowls next to the main bowl, having a bowl of rice with it, so it's it's a whole platter ready to present.
And Ozzy, what's your last flourish as the timer
Uh,
goes last 10 seconds?
Ozzy makes a pyramid again, but this time puts like a piece of like a parsley and puts it at the top, and then a small, like a very tiny bowl of spicy vinegar. To make it spicy, they chop like a one chili. It's like the tiny chilies,
Yeah,
and then
bird's eye, I think, is what they're called.
kind of, I think so. It's too, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they and then once they finish, they just put the plates in front of them, and then just says "Viva!"
As the countdown finishes, and you see Brinjal uh, taking what looks to be uh, pressed leaf cups, and um, that look like they're stable and they're liquid proof, and throws in a healthy portion of the stir fry enoki noodle dish, and puts in little wooden forks with it, and sprinkles some chaat masala on top of it as the one finishes. And you know, 3, 2, 1, chef, step away from your stations. Whew, that was an exciting competition, and now we will head to the judging. But before we head to the judging, we now in game will get to end of course, where we pick our two dice to represent what we are using for our goal. So Danny, which two dice are you picking? The goal is 7.
5 and
Okay.
2, so a 7.
All right, and I believe those match the dice perfectly, which means it's going to be pretty tough to beat. And Maki, what two dice are you picking to represent your dish for this round?
I'm going to be picking one of my fours and my three for another seven.
All right, wonderful. It is a with 0 difference. However, not quite, because when there's a die, we go with the dice face. And uh, Ozzy, what are your two dice to represent this dish?
I also have a 5 and a 2.
Wonderful. We're all super strong this round. And as for myself, I am going to this is going to be interesting for next round, but I'm going to pick my 6 and my 1 to make also a 7. And with that, we are now heading to the judging round. And first up is Gretchen's dish. A costume change on the fly.
Oh,
And and you see Stilton come up and say, "All right, chefs, we start with the judging round. Gretchen, please bring your dish and tell us your story."
All right, hi judges. So this is my entree. I made schnitzel with homemade spätzle. The spätzle is a family recipe. It's just comfort food. This is going to keep everyone fed and warm on a cold night. It's a delicate homemade dumpling, so tiny dumplings, akin to gnocchi. And then the spätzle is veal battered with different seasonings, and light flour and egg yolk. And so that came out well. And then for the transformation of the mushrooms gnocchi, I made a mushroom sauce out of it. So just different seasonings and herbs that I use to really bring out that flavor and get a nice rich um, gravy. I hope you guys enjoy.
Uh, Kaito?
has never had German food before, but he's very curious to try everything. Uh, Fork and knife, right?
Working.
Okay. So he'll cut off some of the veal, dip it in the gravy, pick up some of the spatzel, and scoop it all up in one thing and just take a bite. crispy on the outside, and then got a almost nutty flavor from the noodles. I like this very a lot. German food. I have to try more of it.
Danke sehr, danke sehr.
Kainan also comes forward, takes the plate, and then they're like, I think I've done in one of my videos, schnitzel mukbang. So I'm very excited how this tastes. And then foregoes the fork and knife, just uses her hands and then dips it in the mushroom gravy sauce and pops it in her mouth and like, you know what? This is amazing. It's perfect. It's the texture that really does it for me. It is unique in flavor, and I really appreciate what you've done to elevate the mushroom gravy. I've never heard of enoki mushrooms being used for gravy, and I think you nailed it perfectly. Great job.
Thank you so
And
much. Ah,
and aubergine sort of starts taking a piece of the schnitzel and takes one, like with the fork, stabs a piece of the spatzel as well and says, I've been to many an Oktoberfest and I've had many a schnitzel and spatzel, but I have to say, I really do. I, I will admit I don't quite like spatzel as a whole. It's not really my thing, but somehow this just works with this entire thing, and it just feels like Oktoberfest on a plate and in my mouth. Thank you. I'm just now missing a cold beer next to this, but you know what? That's fine. This is wonderful. Thank you, my dear.
thank you. Thank you guys. After my first showing, I really needed a good showing. So thank you.
And someone says, "Thank you, Chef Gretchen." And next up, Maki, please present your plate. Tell us your story.
So, this is a rather traditional Japanese dish called sukiyaki. It's something my mom made, and it was one of my favorite things growing up. So, I tried to replicate her recipe. Um, remember, so it should be eaten when it's very hot. But if you're not familiar with this, dip the very hot beef and other vegetables into the egg, and then have it on top of the hot rice, and that'll one help cool it down, and two add depth of flavor with the egg. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Maki. The siaki is beautiful. Sybil turns her plate around, looks at the varying degrees of different vegetables that are chopped up, the attention to detail. You can see on her face she's really pleased with it. She gives Maki a big smile. Beautifully done. On taste, she goes ahead and takes a bite, chews it, hums a little bit, puts her fork down, and gives her another nod. Fantastic. Um, the siaki I've only had a few times in my life, but when I've had it, it's been in my travels, and it's always just this beautiful traditional and simple dish, but that is hard to nail and not be over greasy, not be something that is too heavy, but you've managed to make it light with the ratio of vegetables to your beef. It's beautifully cooked. All the portions look equally distributed. Very well done. A good showing, Maki. A very good showing.
Oh, thank you.
Kainan also like excitedly because she's never like really had much rice. So she's excited to take a bite, and then once she does, she almost gets teary-eyed and she says, "This feels like home. This feels like I'm coming home and my mom made me a hearty breakfast and it's just so beautiful. And also the flavors are so precise. Like they're very specific, and they you can actually taste them each, but they complement each other really well. So great job. Great job. And then she kind of like wipes a tear and then goes with the plate and starts eating.
Thank you.
You see Aubergine take look at it and look up at you and say, "Oh, you certainly know how to win my heart. I love rice. I love rice, and I love when there is delicious things that I can soak up the rice in. Oh, you made this person's heart just so good." And actually now takes a bite and just is like eyes closed, going, that is so good. Please tell me you have a restaurant or a stall or whatever it is. Please tell me that you have something like that, because I would go to your city just to eat at your stall.
Uh, well, thank you. We don't actually have a restaurant for this in particular. It's specifically Japanese desserts that my family does, but you're welcome to come and visit anytime.
I can't wait to see how you do next round then.
Thank you.
And with that, Stilton goes, "Thank you so much, Chef. Ozzy, please come up next and tell us your story."
So, Ozzy goes kind of like more confidently walks up towards the judges with the plates for them, and they what do you call this? They present it with like doing this. I call them the Vivas. Uh, they are tradition, more or less traditional Filipino dish of uh ground beef with minced carrots and enoki mushrooms wrapped in a lumpia wrapper and deep fried until golden. And at the side, we have the spicy coconut vinegar to complement the dish. I hope you enjoy. That's the first time they've ever spoken with clarity in this competition.
And before we get to the judges, first of all, just a quick thank you so much for the raids, Michael. Wayne, earlier, I just have caught up in chat, as well as thank you so much for Commander Pulsar. We are currently running a charity stream for all of June on weekend mornings, afternoons, Saturday and Sunday. We are currently at 584.69. Nice. For our
Nice.
1,000 goal for June, and we are raising money for Black and Pink. If you would like to donate, there is a if you type charity or brunchathon, it should bring up the link. And Yeah, with that, and we're playing Kitchen Contest by Hans Shun. We are also giving away 3 copies of the game in chat, so if you can stick around, we will have a raffle for that soon. All right, back to judging, please. Judge Sybil.
Sybil takes the plate. She separates down the pyramid of the egg roll type items and cuts through them, each of them, just to make sure there's consistency in the cooking. Flips them over to make sure they're browned all the way on each side. Takes her pinky and dips it into the sauce and tastes that first to see kind of the heat level before she takes a small bite of the egg roll itself, and then tries them together. Ozzy, this is possibly one of the best egg rolls I've had in my life. And I've traveled. Some of the best restaurants are in Japan and in China and Singapore, Creole. Just there's a wealth of delicious ways to cook an egg roll, but you've mocked your own self here. You've mocked your own self. So the lumpia is really hard to get correct for amateurs, and you nailed it. It's perfectly crispy. The inside is still nothing has gone to pot. Nothing is mixed together so much that you can't enjoy each flavorful bite, and that is that's what we're getting here. And that sauce you've made, the coolness of the coconut, the spice of that chili you've added, just enough heat to really set um, off the egg roll. Fantastic job, fantastic job.
Thank you so much. And then they kind of turn around for a bit and like, and then yeah.
Kaito.
He picks it up, looks at it. Very impressive. Perfectly golden brown all the way around. Dips it into the sauce and just takes a bite. That is a very, very good egg roll. Or lumpia, you said, yes. This is so good. Like, it's not greasy, and it's perfectly well cooked. The inside is juicy and delicious, but it also brings out the mushroom. And the coconut and the chili, they balance each other out so well. Can I get more? Also, you were saying this is for a party. Is this how you normally have party? Because if it is, I would love to come to your parties.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, for birthday parties, and there's fiestas all over the Philippines. So if you're very interested in that, you can definitely visit. Or, if I start my own restaurant, I can definitely serve this. Definitely, yes. So thank you so much.
Although it's interesting because it's slightly sweeter than I would have expected, but it's delicious.
100%. Oh my god, this is if this is what happens for birthday parties, I can we be friends? Can you just like when it's my birthday, can I just have lumpias?
Definitely, I can definitely do that. Please, yes.
Yeah, I just I there's I will just I can't say anything that can top what my wonderful my other panelists on the panel can say. So just oh my god, just I'm just you know what? And just takes a bite and is just eating, just no word said whatsoever. And Stilton comes in and says, "Well, I guess that you knocked it out of the park. Uh, all right, chefs. We will take a short break and come back for round three, and then cut to now. We are now in round three, our final round. Uh,
Oh, hold on.
We
Did we
didn't,
judge Brinjo?
not yet.
Not
oh
yet.
yeah, sorry, I realized I forgot myself. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Yes, last because I keep forgetting myself. Stilton says, "All right, and for our last contestant, who we totally didn't forget, uh, Brinchel, please bring up your dish and tell your story." So, what you all get on your plates as judges is a small, about I would say a cup worth. Uh, it looks like the cup itself is made out of like pressed leaves to form a compostable um, bowl, and in it you see essentially a stir fry, like instant noodles stir fry, with pieces of fried eggplant, with pieces of scrambled egg, and instead of noodles, it's actually a combination of softer enoki mushrooms and some barely, like, basically just thrown in, sauteed for a minute, enoki mushrooms and spring onions, and it's got chaat masala thrown all over it, and it is looks like there's soy and a chili vinegar thrown into it as well.
Fantastic. Sybil takes a moment to look at the plating, and is impressed with the pressed leaf cups, that's containing the stir fry. She takes a bite, takes another bite, puts her fork down. Now, this stir fry, is beautifully done. I was worried when I saw you boil your gnocchi, usually that blanches it a little too hard, takes away some of the flavor, but adding in your additional raw ones at the end really brought back that flavor profile, and allowed for the other ones to act in substitute of those noodles. And that was very clever indeed. The jackfruit, very well done, well seasoned, fantastic. I like the consistency for those who might not be carnivorous as I am. You still get that bite of feeling like you are enjoying chicken or something of that effect. All the flavors work really well together. All in all, very well done, Bridget. You should be very proud of this dish.
Thank you so much.
I don't think I've ever seen gnocchi mushrooms used as noodles the way you've used them, but Kaito is just, again, he likes his food and is just perfectly happy to just try it. So he just takes a bit, and he's like, "Oh, that's a leaf. I better not poke that too hard with my fork. That would be bad." Um,
The forks are also compostable. They're actually made out of they're made out of grains.
Mm-hmm.
the forks aren't edible, right?
Oh, they're edible if you'd like. You don't have to.
He'll take a bite of his fork.
And it is flavored with the sauce of whatever it is, but it's mostly like think of hardtack or crackers.
Was this? Can I get another fork? I think I need to. This one's not going to work for eating this right now.
Yeah, and then some production assistant comes with a fork.
With an actual metal fork.
Yeah.
And then he takes a bite of the stir fry. Oh, that was spicier than I thought. This is delicious. Oh. And there's no meat in it. You said?
No, the to get that flavor, I added scrambled eggs as well as I added jackfruit.
I've never had jackfruit before. But yeah, if I didn't know better, this could definitely be some sort of meat. Um, I'm very impressed with this dish.
Thank you so much. I love street food, and just being able to highlight that for wonderful judges means a lot to me.
This is the kind of thing you get street food. I would love to visit.
Of course. Wonderful. Thank you.
Kainan very eagerly approaches the plate and uh, lifts the bowl and shows it to the camera and says, "Look, it's a compostable dish! Oh my goodness, this is amazing! I've seen them before, but I did not expect to see them in a competition. Oh my goodness!" And then gets the fork and takes like a huge, like rolled up piece of the stir fry and then pops it in her mouth, eating the fork with it. And she says, "You know what? I will hire you the next time I make a mukbang video because this is very mukbangable. Plus, your plating, again, your plating is wonderful. It is so skillful. I've never seen plating like this in a competition. Plus, your fork is delicious. I think it is delicious. So,
Thank you.
uh, how did you even make the mold? This is so interesting. How did you make the fork? How did you make the plating? What gave you the inspiration?
Uh, well, this these are things like especially where I come from, in Calcutta, they the street vendors, because reusable stuff adds up really quickly. They've come up with compostable versions so that you can just throw it in general garbage and it'll decompose. It's also
I see.
really cheap. It's
I
cheaper than
see.
plastic.
You pulled my heartstrings at cheap because accessible food is Well done.
And thank you so much. And Stilton comes in and says, "Well, that was a very strong ground for all of our competitors. Looks like uh, flying marks all around. Uh, but we're still not done. We have our last round before we can crown the winner of tonight's kitchen contest. All right, contestants, for this last course, we have 20 minutes to make a wonderful, stunning dessert using this ingredient and another flourish and reveal, and you see these long almost like chili sort of size things, but they're green and they have lime skin in it. And it said, please make a dessert featuring finger limes as the center of your sweet dishes, and your time starts now, and cook. And there's just like the display is basically a tree, like as if a lime tree, but it's just finger limes all over. And while you're kind of running in the background, Stilton goes, finger limes are found actually in Australia, and they're not actually a lime, they are a micro citrus. And sort of pulls it up, and you kind of see, like, when you cut in the middle, that there's just little pips in it. It's not segmented like citruses. And now we cut to Gretchen. Gretchen, what are you doing?
Gretchen is grabbing some of the limes from the dais, bringing them back to her station, turns on her oven, and is already kind of opening up the fruit to kind of work with. Tastes a little bit of it. It's tart. It's what she expected. So I'm thinking it has a very citrusy taste, lime, obviously, but it's not something I've worked with before. But I think it'll still work really well. We do a lot of puddings, denser puddings, kind of bready puddings in Germany. So I'm thinking of maybe doing something along that line. I do a really good coconut lime pudding, so I'm thinking these two can marry really well. So to get that started, I'm going to need to grab eggs, flour, um, a few other things, some vanilla, maybe some raw. So yeah, I need to go hustle and go grab those things. So she runs off to go get her ingredients. She's just savoring the moment. She's in her zone. She feels good after the last competition round. She's opening her little vanilla beans and scraping it out and starting to juice the lime and zest the outside and just get into it and start getting those ingredients ready.
Yeah, and before we pan to Maki, I just want to say that our raffle is open. So if you are in chat right now during this live stream, follow the instructions to get our raffle to win one of 3 copies of this wonderful game that we're playing, Kitchen Contest. All right, Maki, what are you up to?
Uh, Muck, I've I've never actually seen this fruit before, but apparently it's a lime. So she's falling back on her knowledge of Japanese pastries, and there's a specific one called a cheese manju from a place in Japan called Miyazaki, and it's like got bread dough on the outside and then kind of a sweet, soft, slightly savory cheese on the inside. And she's like, I think that will pair really well with the lime. So it goes off, gets uh, flour, sugar, some uh, cream cheese, uh, get some of the limes, um, cut some up, and it's just like, and it's kind of actually somewhat surprised to see how the inside of the lime works, and it's like, oh, I don't, I guess I'm not putting this inside. I think it needs to be on the outside. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Um, I'm going to transform.
All right, which die are you transforming out of the 2 left?
I'm going to transform my 5.
All right. Yes, and the goal for this, just so that everybody knows, including the audience, the goal for course 3 is we're trying to hit a 6 in total among 2 die.
That is a 4.
All right. Does that get you closer to your goal?
Slightly, yes.
All right. And how does that work out as you are learning, as you're getting your ingredients together?
Again, Maki is like having now an understanding of at least how the fruit works and looks, and knows that the cheese manju dessert will go well with a lime flavor. Is starting to work on making the balls of cheese to put inside of the bread dough in order to then put the bits on top.
Okay, wonderful. The camera is now panning towards Ozzy. Ozzy, what are you up to?
Ozzy kind of shocked again and looks at the finger lime tree, and they just say out loud, "Holy heck, what is that? I don't know what that is." Okay. Hold on. And then they run towards the thing and then grabs a couple handfuls of it, and then as they're going, they crack open one and then sees like it's like tiny globule like things
Yeah,
inside.
like
And
pips.
yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm not sure if this will work, but I will try." And then they go to the pantry once again and finds a silken tofu and grabs some brown sugar and some vanilla, and they figured, okay, let's make this simple. Let's make this, I don't know what to make of it, but I'm gonna make it. And so they start boiling the brown sugar and putting some vanilla in it, and then kind of drains the silken tofu. And then also in another sieve, they also drain the finger limes, making sure that there's no extra juice or whatever. And they're like, "Oh dear, this is rough." And they just start singing to comfort themselves. uh and yeah, I am going to transform uh my 6. I only have a 6 and a 3, so I'm gonna transform the 6.
All right, let's see what you get.
Oh, I got a 3.
I feel like that's pretty bang on the goal at this point.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, so yeah.
All right. It looks like you're coming through, and the camera now pans to Brinjal, and Brinjal grabs a couple of finger limes, cuts one, kind of smells it, and kind of has like one of the little pips in, and just sort of like, it's like a balloon in my mouth. Ooh, I have ideas, and starts running to the kitchen. Is going to try to transform one of the fives that I have to a six. And just let's just say for comedic relief, because I am somehow a comedy queen of some kind. I get myself locked in the pantry.
Oh
Oh
my god.
no!
Oh
Oh no!
And we will continue. We'll see the fate of Bridgel in a moment as production crew try to unlock the door. Gretchen.
Gretchen looks up to see PAs just running by to the kitchen, but doesn't have time to focus on that poor Brinjel. Prayers for him. Back to, or I'm sorry, back to what I was working on. So right now she's just savoring. She is getting her items together, whisking up what she needs to, has the egg whites stiffened to beautiful peaks. That's going well. Has her ramekins prepared and is pouring, putting those into the oven. She's like, you know what? I can top this off. I'm going to go grab some figs, candy those, runs to go grab that, checks on Brinjel, still in the poor pantry, grabs her figs, gets to dicing, and is candying them with some brown sugar and a little bit of bourbon in the in a frying pan, and getting those beautiful on both sides.
And you're still savoring the
Just
moment.
friend, she's in
Just,
it to win it.
yep. Maki, what are you up to?
Um, I'm going to transform again.
All right.
Try to roll one of my fours, and then we'll see what exactly I'm doing.
Yep.
Oh no, it's a 5.
How does that how does that translate into what you are currently doing?
Maki's only heard of the cheese manju. It's not something that her family makes at the store, so she's not exactly sure how to make it. And I feel like she's like possibly made the dough either too stiff or maybe the cheese is a bit too runny, but it's just not quite coming together as it's supposed to, because it's supposed to be kind of a almost cheesecake like texture on the inside, and then a soft, light, not quite cream puff, but flaky on the outside. But this is becoming, much more stiff. It's not quite a cookie. It's not, but it's not quite the right texture that I'm expecting.
Yeah, and it's it's now a very tight race as we're getting close to almost, I think half of the time is gone. There's only 10 minutes left of the 20 minutes. Ozzy, what are you up to?
Ozzy just like, okay, waiting for the brown sugar vanilla concoction to finish boiling and reaching to a certain consistency. And the silken tofu has been drained. And so they put it in a bowl, the three separate bowls, and then waits for the finger limes to finish draining. And then once that's done, they just pour the brown sugar, the sweetened thing, around the tofu, and they also sprinkle the finger lime globules on there, and then they're like, "I'm done. I'm done." Okay. Looks at where Brinjal is, and they're like, should I help?
At this
Uh,
point, Brinjal is actually out and is just rushing to get things in. And you see Brinjal taking the limes and just like roughly just squeezing it into juice and adding what looks to be agar agar and some thickeners, and is pulling out syringes, and it looks like they're going to do some sort of gastronomy thing. And I'm going to try to transform that 6 to a 3. Not quite what I was hoping for, but better than before. So it looks like they're finally getting into their stride, and it looks like they are making some sort of gelatin skin that's purple colored. Um, and they're sort of pouring it on top of a balloon and trying to make a little kind of like a cup size, and it's purple, and there's like a little green stem lid that they're trying to do as they make it to their finish. And we're gonna, just for the sake of time, we're gonna just do the 10, 9, 8, and like we don't know, we're gonna save the descriptions for the judging as we now 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, chefs, hands off your creations. And uh, now we get to end of round. So we'll go around the table. Gretchen, what is your goal for the scores?
3 and 3. 6.
3 and 3. So it is on goal, but not. Let's see if anyone can tie or beat that. And we go next to Maki. What is your dice total?
5 and 4.
5 and 4. So you are off by 2. No, 3.
3.
3. Yeah. And then Ozzy, what is your course dice?
3 and 3 also.
3 and 3. And it is currently a tie. And for myself, I am 5 and 3. So I am just 2 off. And with that, we will start the judging. So Sultan again says, all right, Gretchen, please bring your dish and describe it for the judges.
All right. So my dish is a coconut finger lime pudding. with a caramelized fig on top, a bourbon caramelized fig on top. Um, so this is kind of a more modern take on a German classic. We do a lot of puddings, especially around Christmas time, Yuletide. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. It has a very rich consistency. It's definitely a dessert, very sweet, and hopefully I elevated that lime flavor to come through.
Go ahead, Kaito.
It's very very pretty, and he'll take a look at it, take scoop in and take a bite. There's so many complex flavors in this, and yet they all work really really well together. Um, this is absolutely delicious, and he'll just take another bite.
Thank you.
Um, hold on. Huh. Okay, I'll fix that later. um, Kainan goes forward and is very interested in how everything looks and is kind of like a pudding with something tart. That's very interesting. Takes a huge bite anyway, and she's like, "That was unexpected, but I like it. Well done. You it's very different, and there is like a certain of like innovation in all of your dishes, and I really appreciate that. I i would love to invite you to my YouTube show one day, if that's all right with you."
Ja, ja, wunderbar. Ja, thank you.
Yeah, all right. I wish you the best of luck, and again, great job.
And Aubergine just takes a mouthful and just doesn't actually say it. It's just silence and just stares at you and says, "Well, you know when I make that reaction, what I truly feel," and just continues eating. Of like, and that's sort of the this judge has been in multiple shows, and when it's like a silent, barely any words review, it usually means it's really really good. And with that, we Stilton goes, "So Maki, please bring your dish over and explain it to the judges."
He brings out basically they're like sweet dumpling things filled with almost a cheesecake like thing, and it's got the little lime bit globules like delicately sitting on top.
Sybil takes the plate, turns it, looks at the different angles, takes a small bite, lets it sit for a minute, um, takes another tiny bite, makes a face, puts the fork back down. So, Maki, you have had such a strong showing this game. Unfortunately, you've got a soggy bottom on your bread dough. The cheese is a little runny. It's just it misses the mark for me. I'm sorry, it just does. You're better than this.
Ozzy comes forward and says, uh "You know what? I'm gonna try it anyway." And takes takes like a huge chomp, and then says, "Hmm, interesting. Very interesting. You know what? I think it's an acquired taste. I'm not going to judge that much. I just want to commend you for trying your best at this. And yeah." And then kind of turns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a little kind and not get into the problems of this dish, as Sybil has already pointed out what they are. Um, but I do like the textures. Sorry, the flavors. I think you did the best job you could with the ingredient that I think maybe is not it's not something you're used to using, but I think you did a wonderful try.
Yeah, thank you.
And Stilton says, and next up, Ozzy, please present your dish to the judges.
Ozzy comes forward with like tiny bowls of what they call tart taho, uh, and then they present it to everyone. Uh, this dish, it's actually another street food that usually there's like people running walking across our area and screams taho, and then it's very it is silken tofu mixed with some arnibal, which is brown sugar, vanilla extract, and water. And the what I used instead of tapioca pearls are fresh lime, finger limes. I hope you enjoy.
Sybil takes her spoon, taps on the top to see the consistency of the tofu, of that cracking sugar, takes a bite, puts her spoon down. Now, the tataho very much reminds me of a flan, except without having to do all the nasty bits of making the actual flan. I love it. So it has that consistency, but still that layer of sweetness just bathing in it. Um, I think you did a very clever idea with the lime and the little nodules inside. That has this delicious little burst of freshness and zest. I love it. I think it's a slam dunk for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You've got the creaminess of the silken tofu, and then you've got this nice tang and the little pop of the finger limes, and they go so well together. I'm truly impressed.
Thank you. Thank
And
you so much.
you cut to aubergine, and whatever serving was served is already gone. And says, "Well, I I guess this is my review here. It's it's I'm just sad. The only one bad thing I can say about it is that I'm sad that it's gone."
You can just see Ozzy bowing to each judge. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And with that, we are done with the contest itself.
Brinjal,
Right.
your food.
Yes, my food.
They just left. They're like, we know what happened.
Okay, so last player, um, Brinjal comes in, and each judge is given like the biggest of plates with the teeniest, like with the tiniest sort of like those are really annoying plates with like big rims and itty bitty portion sizes. So in
Mm-hmm.
the middle of it is what clearly looks to be a gelatin balloon like substance that oddly looks like a eggplant, um, and and says, what I have for you is a, like April Fools. So this is an eggplant, but when you actually bite into it, it is finger lime, and it's basically finger lime, limeade. Kept it simple with some mint. Uh, Considering I only had 10 minutes to get this ready, so please enjoy.
Sybil is perplexed completely by the setup of this balloon contraption thing, but nonetheless, she endeavors on. With her fork, she cuts through it. I guess it would crumble
No,
because
you just
it's
basically
skeleton,
pick it
right?
up and eat it. There's no
Oh,
cutlery
okay.
provided.
Okay. So she just pops it into her mouth, a little amuse bouche. Um, Daring, given the amount of time you had. Um, Obviously, you were at a detriment being locked in the closet. Um, with the time you had, it is adequate, but obviously not your best showing in this race. Um, Sorry to see to see such a lackluster end, unfortunately.
Well, I'm just glad to be out of the closet.
You had just unmuted.
Oh, God.
Just to say this, our wonderful producer, Jess. All right. All right, Tito.
I'm very impressed that you managed to pull this off in the time you were given or time you had after getting trapped in the fridge. I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to go, but as always, things are generally delicious, and I'm a fan. I'm not again not sure how it all goes together, but I like it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kainan like bravely uh goes up and thinks that, oh, it's just finger limes. It's fine. And then pops it in her mouth and for a second goes, oh, and then goes uh the tartness of the finger limes got a little overwhelming for her. So she's like, you know what? I enjoy it, but unfortunately, I don't know if I want a second bite because it was a little too sour for me. But I like it. Good dessert overall. But again, I do understand that you got locked in the closet. Um, and I am glad, however, that you managed to pull this off in the short amount of time that you had. So, yeah, well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And as the camera sort of goes to essentially the deliberation before the winner is announced um, amongst the judges, we are essentially now in our closing ceremony. So we know amongst ourselves, as I've been keeping track of who the winner is. But before we announce who the winner is, uh, let's go around the table really quickly. And as judges, let us describe our least, our favorite part of each round. Just a highlight, a quick highlight reel.
So I thought that everyone had a good showing. Obviously, Gretchen stumbled at the very beginning, at the offset. That was an unfortunate. She picked herself back up. Proud of her in the later rounds. That main dish was fantastic. Maki and Ozzy were very high contenders. Ozzy just felt like they squeaked it out at the end. Though everything was consistent across the board, even in their shortcomings, there was still good to be had.
Yeah. I honestly I love Ozzy's energy. It
Mm.
is so infectious. Uh like just especially doing the entree, just the happy birthday and the lumpias. Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. It was like a fiesta. It didn't matter what was going on. It was a party.
Um, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Um, Kainan just just shakes her head and just says, "Everyone was so amazing. I really am. It's is it weird to say I'm proud of them? But I am proud of them for how much effort they put into their dishes. I think Gretchen made such innovative dishes for this competition. Maki also was very made food that is like close to her heart. And Brinjal, as tough as it was for them, I think their humor and their quick thinking really puts them on a certain level. But yeah, I really appreciate. I think my favorite one was the schnitzel. Yeah, I think it just gives me some form of nostalgia.
I was just impressed with how everyone managed to make such amazing foods. I mean, there they just I'm not very good at cooking. I make I oftentimes will go to the store and just buy whatever's on sale. But all the chefs today were just so amazing in what they were able to put together and bring out to us. Uh, I was really impressed with Ozzy. Like, can they come to my birthday and then I can have the lumpia because that would be a really great birthday.
Not just birthdays, but anniversaries and just
All the parties,
parties, all the
all the
parties,
parties.
all the
Yeah,
pro-
yeah, yeah.
So, who do, um, who do you think is the contender here amongst the chefs?
So, in my opinion, looking at all rounds, um, obviously Aussie was the strongest contender. I think Gretchen was close. She had a great strong showing. Had she had that first round, she might have nipped it in the bud, but she just couldn't pull that out. So I think consistency wise, Aussie.
Yeah, and
Say, I was very impressed with how Gretchen managed to like bring her A game from the later rounds. The missteps in the beginning did hurt a bit, but I think Ozzy was solid all the way through the competition.
Mm.
yeah, and Stilton says, "All right, I guess we have our decision." And we now cut to the final where all the chefs are standing up, line by line. And Stilton says, "All right, you have created some stunning appetizers, some delicious entrees, and a wonderful end to this competition with some gorgeous desserts. However, there can only be one winner, and the winner is drumroll Ozzy."
No way! Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Oh my god, judges, I thank you for thinking that my food was amazing. Thank you so much everyone who thought that my food was like, oh my goodness. What do I say? What do I say? Yeah, hi ma, hi pa, I did it. Hi to my neighbors who didn't believe in me. Hi to my dog who's like with my parents right now, and then Ozzy just goes on saying
It
hi to
slowly
everyone.
fades off. And that is Kitchen Contest, everybody.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you first of all for everyone who donated during the stream and also throughout this month. uh and also just a quick reminder that this is Pride Brunchathon, and seeing if the raffle, is the raffle still happening? It looks like it's still happening. So before we start getting yep. As the voice of God slash producer says, we have about a minute left. So get your, if you haven't entered the raffle, please do it. And yeah. I'm going to quickly talk a little bit about the wonderful charity that we're doing. This is Pride Brunchathon, presented by RK Wild and Utopia. We're raising money for Black and Pink throughout the month of June. Black and Pink National is a prison abolitionist organization supporting LGBTQIA2S plus people and people living with HIV/AIDS in the prison system. Their goal is liberation. They're anti-racist, feminist, queer liberationists, and anti capitalists, and they seek to break down the prison industrial complex, which that basically divides and separates families and those who are oppressed by all the systemic issues that we have within our society. Our initial goal is 1,000, and right now, ooh, we have gotten more donations. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are currently at 620.69. Nice. And yeah, no donation is too big or too small. This is our third game off. I think we have 7 games in total. So this is just the third game. We're close to the halfway point. We've got some wonderful games that are coming up. And yeah, no donations too big or small. Please, if you can, please donate, and if you can't, just spread the word, let other people know. It's an amazing organization doing amazing work in the community. And yeah, before we end, and ooh, we've got some winners. Congrats to the winners. You win a copy of this wonderful game by Hans Jen. Um, and let's quickly go around the table once more and hear more from our wonderful players. Please tell us who you are and where we can find you on the internet.
Hi, my name is Danielle Ellett. You can find me at My Name's Danny on Twitter, or also on Insta, but with underscores between my name's Danny. You can also find me and my voiceover work at Good Point with an E, POINTE, podcast.com/ Danielle Ellett, or you can just find me from the main website. We are a podcast company that is currently putting out audio dramas. So movies for your ears, people. Get on it. Plus, you get to hear my voice. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wonderful. And Akemi.
Hi, I'm Kemi. You can find me on the Twitterverse at Ninja Penguin AM. I play games occasionally, I make games occasionally, and do things.
And Mitzi.
Hey, I'm Mitzi, also known as Pukipeko here on Twitch and on Twitter. My pronouns are she, they, or they, she. I am a Filipino trans non-binary variety streamer on Twitch. I play video games. I also play solo tabletop role-playing games, and we have a podcast called Sinigang, where a guest and I watch a Filipino film uh, during a watch party, and then we talk about it on stream. Um, yeah. And oh, I suppose I forgot to say this in the beginning, but also I'm a freelance video editor. So if someone wants to commission me, all right.
Wonderful. And I was the facilitator and host, chef, and judge of this show. Mariam, you can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. I write for TRPGs. Um, and I also am here on this channel and lurking around doing back end stuff or running a game called Kahania, which is alternate Sundays that is set in Sarzamine, a South Asian fantasy setting that I'm writing. And I'm also on the Musafirs, which is season 2 should be coming out this year. And yeah, just I am so happy I got to play with all of y'all wonderful folks. Thank you so much for donating your time and just being here. It really, really means a lot to me. So before we go into who we're rating, just a quick um, plug for next set of games that we're having. So next weekend, Saturday is Juneteenth. We're still finalizing what games we're gonna play, so stay tuned to our Twitter to see what we're doing. In addition, on Sunday the 20th, we will be having four uh, for my family. Yes, thank you. Which our wonderful producer, by the way, Jess, amazing. So please, everybody, show some love to Jess, who has been doing the production for all of these Pride Brunchathon shows. And now Jess gets to be in the GM seat or facilitating seat
Yay.
with For My Family. So tune in next week for those two games. Um, and events. And with that, we are now going to be rating Omari Akilaverse. Ooh, I love them. Playing board games and raising money for LGBTQ Durham. All right. Have a lovely weekend and stay safe, folks. Bye.